Those who rule data will rule the entire world. Masayoshi Son. For this session, I'll ask that you have Ikeno Tech 1 practice file up and running. So let's take a quick look at the Backstage View. The Backstage View is how you can customize Excel. To access the Backstage View, you will click on the File tab. In a previous session, we discussed the Home, New, and Open tabs. I'm not going to get too much into that. On the Info tab, you will have an ability to protect your worksheet. We'll get into how you can do this in another session. And also how to inspect the workbook, the version history. Version history gives you the opportunity, if you're working in a 365 account of SharePoint, you can restore previous versions up to about 26 levels of the previous version you can restore. Then you have manage workbook, and if you were to save your file in one of Excel's extension, for example, saving it as a web page, you can decide which browser option to use when you open up that file. The properties sections, and I'm just going to click advanced properties to see the full section. Why would you want to assign, let's say, document properties to a document? Well, there are a number of reasons. It makes it so much easier for users to find specific files without having to open the file. They can simply look at the properties section of that file to see what the file is all about. The title, the subject it relates to, who the author is, the manager, any information will be captured in here in the properties section. So you can add your title, you can add tags and comments, you can put in the name of the author. All of that information is captured right in here. So also within the Backstage View, you have your save as. You can also save directly as an Adobe PDF. We'll get into printing and sharing as well, how to export to other applications, how to publish, and we know the close will simply close your file. What I want you to take a look at is really the options section. The options sections in the Backstage View allows you to make changes or customize Excel to kind of work best for you. So you have the general categories right here. It deals with user interface options, when creating new workbooks, how to personalize your copy of Microsoft Office. You can put your name or anything in here, what the font should be when you launch your application, what the font size should be. Okay, I'm going to click on the formulas. So the formula pane includes settings for calculation and formula and error handling. So you can choose to automatically calculate or manually calculate your worksheet. Now, manual calculations can speed editing for very large worksheets, but you must also calculate formulas by clicking Calculate Now, and that is where you will go on the Formulas tab in the Calculations group, and then have the system perform the calculations now. The shortcut key is to simply hit the F9 on your keyboard, or Fn plus F9 on a laptop. Okay, iterative calculations are used in GoalSeek and in problems that deals with using Microsoft Excel Solver. And when we get into using those advanced functionalities like adding the solver, adding the analysis toolpack, you will get to see that as well. And when you get into using manual calculations, you definitely have the option to recalculate your workbook before saving. Important. So we'll get into this in another session. You can, when working with formulas, you can use the R1C1. The R1C1 style identifies which rows and columns by numbers. I'm just going to check this right now. Click OK. But pay special attention over here to my column headings where I have A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. When I click OK, it changes to 1, 2, 3. So this functionality works very well for certain macro calculations. So the R1C1 works very well for certain macro calculations. And when we get into creating macros, you get to see that as well. There are two groups in the formula pane that affects how Excel handles formula errors. You have your error checking, and then the rules related to how the error check is performed is right in here in the error checking rules. So if you wanted to make sure that Excel gives you a warning, if there are inconsistency in your formulas, make sure this box is checked. I highly recommend we leave them with the default settings for now, just to make sure that when we get into other sessions, you would get a better understanding of how to set the rules.